Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to the Division 2, and today we've got a surprise new public test server phase that is spinning up tomorrow for the Division 2. This is for the new season, Year 7 Season 2, titled The Pact, which is coming on September 9th, as we know. Now, originally, they were only going to do a single PTS phase for this that happened a little while ago. We did videos covering it. However, as I said, they just announced that another phase is coming tomorrow. We've got dev notes to go over with some of the changes that they've made to stuff like Retaliations, the new gear, and more. So, I just want to quickly break it all down for you and let you know what you need to know. If you end up enjoying and you want to stay up to date on the latest with the Division 2 with videos like this, then be sure to subscribe. And as always, shout out and thank you to our channel members who help support me doing what I love doing here. Thank you. Without further ado, however, let's dive into it. Alright, so as you can see right here, a short time ago, they posted we are launching the second phase of the Year 7 Season 2 PTS. These are the exact start and end times, in case you're curious. So this kicks off tomorrow on Wednesday, August 27th, and then runs for, 5 days until Monday the 1st. And as usual, this will be available to anyone who owns the Division 2 on PC via UB Connect. And so let's jump straight into the dev notes and find out why they're now doing the second phase. So as we can see right here, Year 7 Season 2 PTS Phase 2, patch notes, and dev notes. So they do note that while this PTS phase, the second phase, wasn't originally planned, its main goal is to ensure our recent stability improvements are effective and provide a smooth experience for everybody at launch. You'll notice some balancing changes based on community feedback, but not all of them will be present in this phase. Our primary focus is on the technical aspects that ensure game stability. Interesting. So I don't know if this is actually tied to the surprise maintenance that they did earlier today on the 26th. They launched one without really announcing it beforehand, but they do say that they've implemented recent stability improvements and they really want to see how those are functioning on this PTS before the new season goes live on September 9th. And so even though we're going to be taking a look at some of the dev notes here based on the first phase PTS feedback, not all of those will be in phase 2 here, because again, they didn't originally plan on doing this. So let's check those out. We're going to skip past the patch notes because those just go over the actual, what the thing is, but let's go to the dev notes, which talk about their changes that have been made since phase 1. Alright, starting with Retaliations. They say the Pact has been one of the most anticipated seasons for our dev team as it introduces one of our favorite mechanics, Retaliation. Our goal is clear: to bring new endgame content with high replayability, new ways to interact with the open world, and a fresh path for farming exotics. They say after reviewing community feedback and internal data, we're happy to see that the reception has been largely positive and aligned with the experience we aim to deliver. Of course, there's always room for improvement, and we're making a few adjustments to address some of the feedback we received. For example, we will tweak the global modifier balance to make sure that players can easily benefit from controlling named zones when starting from the ground. Also, now we will finally introduce the maneuvers feature, allowing players to better manage their risk-reward ratio throughout the retaliation time. We also noticed that many players had trouble triggering retaliation due to the slow fill rate of the agitation meter. We've revised the criteria for how it fills and made sure that your disruptions now cause the double, I assume that just means double, of the original impact to the feature's activation. After all, we've designed this feature to be played, and making it hard to trigger would go against that intent. So here are the actual retaliation changes upcoming in the new season. There is a new daily project. Added a daily project that once completed instantly fills a faction's retaliation bar to 100%, allowing you to quickly start it. This is great. I had an idea where I was like, maybe a certain type of content every day would allow you to go through it more quickly, like if you played missions or open world or bounties, but this is a great way to do it too. You do a quick daily project and it's automatically at 100% for you to launch one. I think that's a great idea. And then they also said agitation values for retaliation activities on heroic difficulty have been doubled. This is good for someone like me who plays on heroic. I did feel that it was a little bit slow in the PTS. I didn't test on lower difficulties, so I don't know how that's going to feel for them, but I think they're still saying that they're going to tweak some of that stuff for the other difficulties as well. Honestly, I'm a little bit so-so on this section specifically regarding retaliations. While I am glad that we're going to be able to check out maneuvers on this phase, from what we've seen, those are actually just tiny little gameplay objectives like break some armor plates or apply status effects to the NPCs that are coming at you in between the control points. I was hoping these would actually be like dedicated little activities, which it looks like they're not. And then also, I would say two of the biggest points of feedback are actually not addressed in this section from phase 1, and those were difficulty and rewards. I mean, they do say up here that after reviewing feedback and data that the reception is largely positive and aligned with the experience that they intended to deliver. Maybe I'm just in an echo chamber here and the larger community is satisfied with this. I was just hoping to see a little bit more of the difficulty scale widened so that, players who want an easier experience can still have that, but the veteran players who want that real challenge could also have that outlet. I don't know if we're really going to see that happen by the season launch. And then also there were a lot of people saying that, for veteran players, getting exotic blueprints is not a very exciting reward. I honestly thought they might address that somewhere in here, but it looks like not. So yeah, either way, I'm still looking forward to the mode, but I was hoping to see a little bit more of transformative changes in that regard. Alright, as far as new gear, they say regarding seasonal gear, we carefully reviewed your feedback and cross-referenced it with usage data to understand its impact on the meta. They say we understand the community's concerns about the tipping scales gear set and its stack decay, but we also recognize its core purpose, to support LMGs and high sustained damage weapons. We want to reinforce that identity without pushing it too close to assault rifle builds. So let's see, if we look at the tipping scale stuff specifically, they're changing it so that the 4-piece talent increases the critical hit damage value. It's now 4 by base. I think it was 2 before. And then on the backpack talent, which is called Snowball, that will further increase the crit damage stacks from 4 to 7%. Okay, I mean, that's good. I'm a little bit, they say right here that they don't want to go too far so that people then just ditch the LMG side of it and stick to assault rifles, which is what already dominates the meta. I do understand that concern. My only counterpoint would be, and some of the feedback I gave on this set was that what if you lean even more into the suppression side of things? Because while yes, you can suppress with guns like assault rifles, it's far less viable than doing so with LMGs, right? Currently, when you suppress a hostile with this 4-piece talent, it then pauses your stack decay. Some of the feedback I gave is, what if that actually gave you like a 10-second window of no stack decay so that you could reposition, because normally when you do that, the ads then pop up and then you're going to lose your stacks anyway. Also, what if suppressing a hostile gave you like a short little movement speed buff? I feel like those things would further reinforce the purpose of this set, which as they say is to, prop up high sustain damage. But in fairness, I have not tried it out with an assault rifle. Maybe that would make it too strong. In those cases as well. I don't know. I'm glad it has more damage, and we'll be sure to test this out on Phase 2. Other than that, on the Urban Lookout brand set, they changed the 2-piece bonus to now be 30% skill duration. Is this kind of a nerf? I feel like the 2-piece used to be skill efficiency, which I know everybody loves, that stat. I don't know. I didn't care too much for Urban Lookout to begin with, to be honest with you, but that's interesting that they made that change. And they've also made one change here to the Overdog's exotic gloves, where the talent will now do the same, amplifying 30% weapon damage to the lowest ranking enemies, but they specify now that currently in combat, as per the tier hierarchy. That's probably pretty good. I feel like some people were having issues where there were ads like super far away that were getting marked. But to ensure that it's in combat with you is probably a good change. I think they've done something similar for the Shroud down here, so let's go look at it. They say, on the weapon side, we are thrilled with the feedback on the exotic MMR Shroud. Our goal was to encourage players to explore sniper builds more deeply, and we're excited to see how the community experiments with it once the season goes live. For now, we're aware that the Shroud is not interacting properly with the Headhunter talent. Our team is currently looking into fixing this issue, and we will keep the community informed about it. And then if we go down here to the specific part with the Shroud, they do the same thing that they did with the Overdogs, where the talent now applies to enemies currently in combat. Once again, that should help focus it down to enemies that you're aware of that are nearby you, so that's probably a good change. Yeah, I'm excited for the Shroud. I've seen people saying that 125% amp damage is simply too strong. It's going to outclass a ton of other stuff by several times over. I do get that, and especially if it wasn't working with Headhunter in the PTS, which I wasn't aware of, that's just going to make it even stronger once that does kick in. So maybe they should reduce it. I don't know. I do think this is kind of an ironic sentence right here, that they want people to explore sniper builds more deeply. Yeah, because right now people just want to use Determined, which one-shots everything no matter what. It's wild to me that Determined still functions as is. I thought they were going to take care of that a long time ago. So I don't know. I'm excited for the Shroud. Overall, this change should be good. Whether or not it's properly balanced, I don't know. I'll be curious to see how it lands. All right, lastly, before we talk about the Tempest here, let's actually take a look at what they say right here regarding the new soft spot weapon talent. They have buffed it. It now gives you 27% weapon damage for 15 seconds after destroying a weak point, and the perfect version, that goes up to 32. Depending on what content you're doing, I could see this actually being kind of good. Against the cleaners, you're going to be, proccing this all the time. How that actually compares numbers-wise to the other talents we have, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like a buff was probably in order from its original value, so I'm curious to see how that goes over. But let's now take a look at the final section here, which is about the exotic Tempest pistol. I did a full video on this during the first phase of the PTS, because I was like, this is very fun and better than people are thinking. A lot of people had issues with its talent though, so let's see what they've done to it. They say, lastly, about the exotic pistol Tempest, we knew this would be a popular item in the PTS. We've long wanted to introduce an automatic pistol that could be used with a large shield, and that alone makes it a unique and appealing item. We received a lot of feedback suggesting changes to its talent, and while we reviewed all of it carefully, our intent was never to create a new synergy for build crafting. Instead, the talent was added as a small survivability bonus, not as an incentive to build around shield breaking mechanics. In fact, the original design didn't even include a talent, as we were confident in its balance and uniqueness. Since it will only be unlocked after the climax mission, we will be monitoring feedback and data closely once the majority of players have access to it to ensure it's on par with our vision and community perception. Well, dang. There you go. This was pretty much exactly what I said in my video. I was like, I don't think this thing is actually meant to really rely on the talent, and it's actually quite funny that they say the original design didn't even include one, because yes, this item's strength is in its stats. The fact that it is an automatic pistol, the fact that you can then pair that with pistol bonuses that were originally intended for single-fire weapons. It is kind of funny, though, that they're just like, nope, we're not budging. So yeah, the talent on it is staying the same. I'll be curious to know what people think about that, but that's about all we've got. At the bottom, they say, we are incredibly excited about what is coming next. As you may have seen during our Gamescom panels, we have a lot planned for the future. Thank you to everyone who shared feedback, and we hope these dev notes help provide context and transparency around how we are processing your input to deliver a better experience with your help. See you in the PTS. So there you have it, folks. That is the news on the surprise second phase of the Year 7 Season 2 PTS, which again launches tomorrow, and a look at the dev notes, which help explain some of the context behind their decisions. Overall, I thought it was fine. You know, they made some good changes to items like the Shroud and the Overdogs, but these dev notes do feel a little bit less transformative than past ones I feel like have been. The Tempest received no changes. Retaliations, while it's good that they're getting that daily project, I do really wish that they would take a little bit of a look at difficulty or rewards. I guess that's that though. We'll take a look at all this stuff in the PTS once it's live. I would love to get your guys' thoughts on everything that we've seen from today's announcements. What are you thinking about the changes they are proposing in the dev notes? What do you think still needs some looking at before the season goes live? Let me know all of it down below. That's going to do it for me today. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.